Yeah, we can hear you. We can see you also. So let me give. Mehmet is talking about culture and change for successful strategy execution. Mehmet is joining from Turkey. So thank you, Mehmet, for joining us for the summit of day 3 today. Just let me give a quick round of introduction about yourself, and then you can take it from there. Mehmet is a seasoned management consultant with over 15 years of experience in team management, solution architecture, project management, and stakeholder management. Okay, so he has a proven track record in product and vendor management, technical leadership, budget planning, and testing for leadership, telecommunications, and banking companies. I think and much more. So, Mehmet, over to you. Please give a. You can add something for your introduction, and then is to take up through your topic of the culture and change.
Sure. When people ask what I do for a living, I always say I have 2 jobs. One is part-time, one is full-time. I'm a full-time management consultant. I'm a part-time columnist. I write research articles about the relations between culture and economy for several Latin American countries. So I'm going to make a presentation very soft. I'm going to tell very few theoretical knowledge. But
Mehmet, can you check your mic? Is it for me?
Sorry, am I breaking? I can change the connection. If you can just give me a second, I'm going.
A little bit, yeah. You can check it.
Can you hear me better now?
It's much better. Yeah.
Great. So I'm going to make a presentation really soft. I'm going to tell very few theoretical knowledge, and I'm going to tell few case stories about the effects of culture on change and on strategy execution. So I'm starting. Just let me know when you can see my presentation. Please let me know when you can see my presentation.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Great. So, hello everyone. I'm the managing partner of Nuvo Consulting. Actually, we were supposed to make this presentation with my partner, but he recently has suffered a big loss. He lost his mother. That's why I'm joining solo, and he would be really happy to be here as well. Anyways, I'm going to send your regards to him, and I'm starting. So I'm going to talk about Nuvo just a little bit, not that much, for a couple of minutes, what we do. Then I'm going to start my presentation. What I'm going to tell you is I'm going to give you very few theoretical knowledge about culture and culture in work environment. Then I'm going to tell you a few transformation projects of a bank, couple banks, and I'm going to give you a couple information of real cases in Turkish textile sector and the metal sector. Then I'm going to finish the presentation. So as Nuvo, we have 2 offices. We basically do 2 things. We help companies improve their operational excellence and corporate excellence, and we help companies to expand their operations into Latin American countries. So we have 2 offices, one in Istanbul and the other one is in Paraguay. It's a regional office. Our vision is really important for us, so that's why I'm going to tell you. We try to craft tailor-made solutions using a multidisciplinary approach to empower companies to expand into the world. That's a really important vision for us because we always try to achieve it. Uh, so we basically serve most of the large companies here in Turkey and some small companies as well. We are passing these. All right, let's come to the culture. So, what do you think of when we say culture? I can tell you a brief definition of culture. It's the values, beliefs, and norms, and we share, and behaviors that define us. Culture. So culture can change. Culture can be interacted between people, between societies. So these are two important aspects of culture. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about a good work environment culture. Uh, we have to, in our workplaces, we have to build an autonomous culture where people can feel themselves empowered. We have to meet a certain level of psychological and emotional well-being. We have to motivate our employees. We have to create a flexible culture. We have to keep people productive, and we have to create an environment where people can trust each other. Very easy to say, very difficult to achieve. So that's the quote I love the most. Actually, Peter Drucker says that. I never said that, but I think he said it. It's a very important quote. Culture eats strategy for breakfast because never strategy achieves its goals without the support of culture. So, however you build your strategy, you have to always keep in mind the effects of culture. It's really stronger than any strategy in the world. So, very little theoretical knowledge about change projects, especially when we start change projects, and especially digital transformation projects, big change projects. We always think of technologies and processes, but human culture effect is, I think, the hardest to achieve because if we can't achieve if we can't consider this side of the change projects, we lose a lot of money, we lose a lot of time, we lose a lot of trust of people. I'm going to tell you in a few minutes. So the first case study is, by the way, these companies that coming from my former experiences, I used to work in that large bank. It's a state-owned bank. Their headquarters was in Ankara. So they wanted to change all the processes, all the infrastructure, and all the technology of the bank. They started a transformation project, and at the same time, they wanted to move the headquarters from Ankara to Istanbul. These cities are like 400 kilometers away from each other. One is Turkish capital, the other one is Turkish capital of business and commerce and finance. Anyways, what they did was they hired a lot of new employees. Please note that this bank was a state-owned bank. So most of the employees were governmental officers, and the new employees were were coming from private sector, different private sectors of Turkey. What happened is, because they didn't consider the change, they didn't consider the problems and expectations of the especially former employees. A lot of people resigned from their works because they were moving the bank to another city, and at the same time they were trying to change all the processes, all the working culture. But when they were changing a lot of things, they couldn't design a new work culture. They couldn't inform the employees enough. So it was really hectic. The project was initially planned for 3 years, the transformation project, but it took 7 years to finish the project, and they lost a lot of knowledge. They lost a lot of employees. They lost a lot of money, and eventually it succeeded, but with the cost of what? So they lost most of their former employees because their former system wasn't mature enough. They lost a lot of knowledge, corporate knowledge, with those former employees. So what should have been done was they should keep in mind that people would have expectations. So when you do not inform them, they tend to gossip. They tend to be unhappy, and they tend to resign their jobs. They tend to create a toxic work environment if you can't put anything better instead of a toxic work environment. So what they did was, it was a failure. 3 year project was finished in 7 years, and a lot of money was spent for nothing. The second one is a transformation of an Islamic bank. So I used to work in this bank as well, in the technology. So this bank is half Turkish owned, half Saudi owned bank. It's an Islamic bank. It's the largest Islamic bank here in Turkey. So after some point, they thought that the Islamic banks were in Turkey were they weren't really, how can I say, their maturity of corporate excellence weren't in the same level of other conventional banks. So when they were continuing their services as an Islamic bank, they wanted to change their work culture. So they changed all the directors, all the upper management. They hired a lot of people from other companies, especially conventional banks. Well, the former employees weren't happy really, because they were expecting maybe better positions, better paid jobs. And when we were working in that bank, there were a lot of resistance between the former employees and the new employees. It was quite hostile, by the way. So that's why we weren't we weren't be able to finish projects in time. We were losing a lot of money, and eventually it is more settled now, but the company lost a lot of time, a lot of money for years, because they didn't consider building a new work culture, combining the former one and the new one. So there was a lot of losses during the time. So what we should learn from this is, first, we have to listen to the employees. We have to understand their expectations. When we are trying to start that big of a transformation projects, we should always consider building a new work culture instead of the old one. If you don't build a new culture, there is always going to be chaos. And with these two banks, there was a lot of chaos on the way. This is the quote I like a lot. Culture is a company's single most powerful advantage, because, if you take out the culture and the knowledge, you just have some machines, some computers, and some money in the bank. So that's not enough to build a company. Your company culture is actually your company. So I'm going to give you a couple examples about Turkish textile sector and Turkish metal sector. Maybe some of you are aware of Turkish textile sector is a leading sector in the world, and for our country as well. It's a very big sector, makes billions of dollars every year, and large Turkish textile corporations are expanding into many countries, exporting their products into more than 100 countries. It's a leading and it's a very big sector. However, recently we have noticed that we don't have any existence in Latin American countries. For example, in Brazil, in Chile, in Colombia, in Mexico, these countries are importing a lot of textile products from all around the world, but not from Turkey, because Turkish share in their imports are really, really low, like 0.3%, 0.4%. So for a very big textile sector, it's a failure for the Turkish people. And another thing is their prices of imported products are really higher than Turkish average export product prices. So seems like we can't export our products to Latin American countries, and the current clients we are exporting our products for really, really, really cheap prices. So that's a failure. We try to understand why is it like that, because Turkish companies are have a tendency to close deals in expos, right? So in all around the world, they attend to expos. They wait for their clients, potential clients. They do negotiations and they close the deals. But in most of Latin American countries, the businesses doesn't really work like that, because if you, well, for Turkish textile and metal sectors, if you want to expand in Latin American soil, you have to visit them, not just for once, you have to visit them a lot. You have to build connections with them. You have to build certain collaboration with them. And I always say that if you are looking for a client in Latin America, you are not going to find it. But if you are looking for a partner, a business partner, you are going to find a lot of open doors. So the key to compensate the failure here is to build relationships with them, long-term relationships with them, not just to share products and money. They are also looking for us to share our knowledge, our technologies, our processes. They are actually looking for finding a business partner, not to find products. So this client culture, this business culture is really different than we have here in Turkey or we have with European countries. For example, our exports are being made with like 60% with European countries. So if we compare our business cultures between Turkey and Europe, it's really, really different with Latin American countries because they are not just looking for products, they are looking for partners to share knowledge and share technology with. So this is another case study of Turkish textile sector.
Mehmet,
And Turkish, yeah, please.
in the previous, we talk about the textile. So what about the government role there? Okay, so is that government, Turkish government is not paying enough attention or facilitating for doing such business practices?
Turkish government, you mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually, during the last 3-4 years, it's our official government policy to expand our economy to Latin American countries. So during the last few years, we have a lot of presidential visits in Latin American countries, and our ambassadors in most of the countries are really active, really helpful. They are trying to connect us more, integrate us more with Latin American countries. But still, the best government can do is just introduce you to people. In order to, in order to start making business, doing business, introduction is not enough, especially in Latin American countries. I'm going to count For example, it's like this in Mexico, Chile, or Colombia, or Argentina, or Paraguay, Uruguay. In most of the countries, it's like this. So one introduction is not enough. You have to go there. You have to visit them a lot. You have to build friendly relations with them. You have to open up your knowledge with them. So, well, our government is really eager to make introductions. Our government is really eager to arrange a lot of meetings between Turkish companies and Latin American countries over there. But still, it's not enough. One visit is not enough. So, and also our value proposition cannot be the price, cannot be cheaper prices, because there's always going to be a cheaper price all around the world. So, for example, in Europe, we our value proposition is mostly cheaper prices, right? That's why most of the Turkish exporters are exporting their products with really, really low prices to European countries. So it's not sustainable, by the way, because there is always going to be a cheaper price. So if you consider the cultural expectations of your client for Latin American countries, you have to present some other value propositions, which is in this case your knowledge, your technology, your ability to operate a multinational company. For example, there are some Turkish companies. They have offices in several countries. Like they have offices in Europe, they have offices in Africa, or factories as well. They have factories in different continents. So they have a certain level of operational excellence to manage all those companies, all those factories from all around the world, right? So for most of Latin American companies, well, I'm putting aside some international companies in Mexico or Brazil, but for most of them, they lack of the necessary knowledge to manage a multinational company or a company have operations in, well, a lot of continents. So that's why for Turkish companies, if we can consider the culture of our clients, our value proposition should not just be the prices, lower prices, should be good quality products, and should be sharing our knowledge and our technology. And quality is something I like to talk about because, especially in textile and metal sectors, most of Latin American countries have big companies, right? They can produce a lot of products. But the thing is, in order to produce really good quality products in a sustainable way, you have to have a certain level of corporate excellence, right? That is why the companies in Latin American countries, most of Latin American countries, are needing the knowledge and the level of corporational excellence of Turkish companies, because they want us to share all those knowledge, all those technology, and that is our actually value proposition in those markets. Could I answer your question, Sheikh?
Yeah.
Abdul?
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, please, please.
Yeah, of course. And the metal sector is no different than textile sectors. As you might have known, Turkish metal sector is really advanced. We have the leading car part companies here in Turkey. It's really big. The environment ecosystem is really big, and we are producing our own electric cars. We are producing a lot of defense. Our defense industry is really advanced as well. So as a part of this, our metal industry is really advanced as well, and our construction industry is really advanced. As a part of this, metal industry is advanced, etc., etc. But the thing is, same failure in metal industry as the textile sector, because we have a very little existence in all Latin America. So well, maybe I should talk about the Latin American continent as well, because we are talking about 700 million people here. We are talking about 7 trillion GDP per year. So Latin America, well, generally, Latin America used to be a small and poor economy, but now it's really big. During the last 20 years, they have been expanding. During the last 5 years, they have been receiving a lot of foreign direct investment. So, especially Mexico and Brazil are two of the largest economies in the world. So, and especially Mexico and Brazil during the last few years, they are in the top 10 in foreign direct investment. So, it's not a small market anymore. It's a very big market full of potential, 700 million people and $7 trillion every year. So just Brazil has 2.6 billion trillion GDP per year, and Mexico 2 trillion GDP per year. So it's a very big potential. Uh, in order to collect the fruits of that potential, we have to understand their culture, their needs, especially their needs of their companies. So the culture is really different, and understanding the culture is the key to success here. And well, that's actually the things I'm going to talk about. I think we are in the timeline still, so I'm going to say Abe's regards to you, and thank you very much. I would like to receive any questions if there is some.
Yeah. So how is the strategy management practices going on in Turkey? So what is the culture kind of thing? You already gave a very nice briefing. Okay. So in Turkey, the strategy formulation and the strategy execution. Okay. How these projects are taking up? What is the preferences of these industries and
So,
companies?
good question. Actually, well, I have been working with the largest telecoms and banking companies here in Turkey. The thing is, before the generation uh, Z, they weren't really considering the effects of the culture in projects. They were just starting the projects. They were just investing in well, a lot of technology, a lot of personnel. They were employing new people, and they were just planning the projects and starting it. And as a result, well, Turks, we are really emotional, right? We have a Mediterranean culture. So uh, most of the companies have lost a lot of time and a lot of money because they were planning the projects like a robot, right? So they were just planning the timelines. They were just, well, considering the technical needs of projects, but the people need a certain reassurance as well. The people need, as I have said in the start of the presentation, the people need a confident work environment. The people need morale. The people need a productive work environment, right? These are the things that you can create only if you can consider the cultural effect of the projects. So for years, most of the largest and biggest and most professional Turkish companies, I'm talking about banks and I'm talking about telecom companies, didn't consider these effects. But during the last few years, well, with the coming of the new generation, they are trying to understand the cultural needs more. They are trying to, well, achieve as keeping a certain level of cultural needs. So I think they are not great at it, but at least they have started to doing it.
Excellent, excellent. I think any more, how is that the industry trends going up now for next 2 years, 3 years? Having disturbance in Europe and the change in government in US. So how does that affect the
Yeah.
industry? Okay, just take your time.
Good. Yeah, really good question. The thing is, it's really costly to manage a company, operate a company here in Turkey because we have been dealing with inflation, hyperinflation during the last few years, right? So the costs are, for example, the minimum wage is more than $600. It's quite high than before, or the energy costs or any other cost is really high. So we have been dealing with business with mostly European Union and Russia and Middle Eastern countries, right? So with European Union, there is always new regulations and making it difficult to do business for Turkish companies. With the North, Russia and Ukraine, there has been a war during the last few years, and a lot of industries have been suffering from the war. In the South, there is Syria. You know, the management has changed in Syria, and we have very big border with Syria, and we have a lot of trade transactions between Turkey and Syria. And well, it has been changing, and there was a war for the last like decade. And in further south, there is a war in Israel between Israel, Lebanon, and Palestine. So it has always been challenging for us. And United States as well, as you said, the new government is trying to forbid some of the transactions. So as a Turkish man, I'm really proud of our capacity of resilience, right? We are really resilient country. We, in our culture, by the way, it's a cultural habit to be resilient, right? In most of the Asian cultures as well, it's similar. But the thing is, we are running out of options as Turkish industries. That is one of the reasons why during the last few years, Turkish government has been trying to expand into Latin American economies and African economies. So they are trying to create new options for us. And the good thing is, Asian economies, African economies, and Latin American economies has been expanding. United States is still the largest economy, or it's like co-largest with China, and European countries are still the the biggest trade partner of Turkey, but it's not going to be that way. Turkish people are now seeing the end of the road because we are running out of options day by day. So that is the reason why we are trying to create new and productive relations with African economies and Latin American economies.
Perfect.
I hope I could.
Perfect. So, any final
answer your
thoughts?
question.
Any advice?
Yeah. Well,
it's great.
Try to. As I said in the beginning, I'm a management consultant. I'm an engineer, and I'm also a sociologist, right? So I'm a management consultant and I'm a writer, and I think understanding the culture, understanding the sociological dynamics, understanding the behavioral economy is to understand has been leading us to understand the key to success, because economy is not just something analytical, it's also emotional, right? So we tend to do business with people with people where we feel confident, where we feel trustworthy, where we feel comfortable generally. So I always try to understand the sociological and psychological dynamics of people. To understand that, we have to understand the politicals, and we have to understand the country's histories as well. So I think, especially with Latin American continent, the key to success is to understand their past, their history, and their culture.
I think it's a fantastic lecture from you, Mehmet. So thank you very much.
Thank you very
And
much. Thank you.
convey our to our friend. Okay, so we miss you. Okay, so
Thank you very much.
yeah, we miss you. Yeah, so we will just meet up sometime next, where you also can join, and we will have a session.